Human life is found only on Earth, not just in our solar system, but in the entire universe. No doubt the universe is very vast, but for now, it seems that maybe we are alone in this universe. This fact creates two kinds of emotions in us humans. Some people get scared just thinking that human civilization is completely alone in this infinite universe. On the other hand, some people believe that even if we are alone, humans have the entire universe to themselves, where we can go, where we can rule. But the thing to think about is that even if our existence is limited to Earth, humans have been on this planet for more than 300,000 years. Have we been able to leave Earth and go anywhere else? Before July 16, 1969, the answer was no. This is the date when humans first set foot on the surface of the moon under the Apollo program. Today, it has been more than 50 years since this event, and even today, our answer is the same as it was 50 years ago. Yes, we have been able to go to the moon about 400,000 kilometers from Earth. But those historic steps taken on the moon still stand as testimony to the existence of us humans. In the Apollo program, we didn't just bring back photos and samples from the moon. In fact, we left behind many things there that will remain on the moon for a long time. Some scientific equipment like retroreflectors, lunar rovers, landers, seismometers, and much more. But there are also some marks of ours on the moon that will make our future generations proud, like footprints, footpaths, and rover tracks. All these marks are still intact in the moon's soil. But for how long? Will they stay there forever, or will they eventually disappear over a long period of time? Some people believe that these footprints and other prints will continue to exist on the moon's surface for millions of years. Yes, it's true that there is no atmosphere on the moon, so there is no wind and no dust blowing around. So because of all these reasons, there's no question of those prints getting erased. But still, there are some mysterious processes happening on the moon that are causing these footprints to disappear much faster than we ever imagined. There are some internal factors behind the disappearance of these prints, like moonquakes, thermal expansion and contraction, static electricity, and besides that, those mysterious processes happening inside the moon. There are some external factors as well, like solar events, solar and cosmic radiation, impacts, etc. We do know that these prints won't remain on the moon forever, and how long they will last on the moon. It will depend on those mentioned factors, on how those factors are affecting these prints, and how frequently they occur. And what effect is this having on the environment around those locations on the moon? Now, how these prints will disappear from the moon's surface, like how impacts will erase them. We have three possibilities for this. The second possibility is that with each such impact, they behave accordingly. Like if there's an impact, whether it's from an asteroid or a meteoroid. The third and final possibility is that these prints and other things get buried under layers and disappear. This can happen because of atmospheric particles and precipitation. Even though the moon is very far from our Earth, it doesn't mean that it has escaped all the dangers that usually come to our planet. This is space. It doesn't show mercy to anyone. All those dangers are present on the moon as well. They can come to any other planet in our solar system. Small dust and grain particles traveling through our solar system, large bodies like asteroids and comets, cosmic ray particles, and radiation. You will find all of this on the moon. By looking at the dark side of the moon, anyone can understand what kind of conditions the moon went through during the early days of the solar system. The smallest and largest craters on the moon tell the whole story. By studying the lava flows and small new craters in these dark regions, scientists have found that these impacts have decreased over time, and that's why we don't see large new impact craters on the moon today. Although this is a big relief, this is actually an average taken from long-term data. But compared to Earth, the moon is much smaller in size, and for such objects, the moon is a smaller target. You can roughly assume that out of all the material that falls on Earth, only about 7.5% of it hits the moon. And this figure is about 2,460 kilograms per day. Now, this fast-moving material can have a speed of up to 27 kilometers per second, and when it collides, it will release so much kinetic energy that we can't even imagine. For example, if a 5-kilogram piece of material hits the moon, it will create a crater about 30 feet deep, and around 75,000 kilograms of material will be removed from that crater. Now we know how much material hits the moon and what effect it has on the moon. But the thing to note here is that the total surface area of the moon is 38 million square kilometers. That's equal to the entire continent of Asia on Earth. And this 2,460 kilograms of material that's going to fall, it will be randomly distributed over 38 million square kilometers, and mostly. These are mostly small particles whose average mass is only about 0.0001 grams. So according to calculations, these particles will take anywhere from 4 million to 100 million years to erase 1 centimeter deep footprints on the moon, which is a very long time on the human time scale. Apart from this, solar winds, solar flares, and solar particles released from coronal mass ejections also hit the surface of the moon and rearrange the particles of the lunar soil. Apart from this, gamma rays and radio waves, which are present everywhere in the form of cosmic background radiation, as well as cosmic particles like cosmic rays, also make their way to the moon. All these things act as a catalyst in the process of those footprints disappearing. Our moon is filled with many volatile elements and compounds. Lunar soil contains hydrogen, methane, ammonia, and much more besides. When these particles coming from space hit the moon's surface at high speed, all that energy gets transferred into these elements. As a result, they get excited and fly off into space, sometimes even escaping the moon's gravity and drifting away into space. On the moon's surface, elements like oxygen, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, calcium, titanium, and iron are found. When the energy from these impacts and sunlight falls on them, like on sodium, then it quickly releases its electron and gets ionized, and the solar winds easily carry away these ionized particles. So all these things have always been happening on the moon and will continue to happen like this forever. If we draw a conclusion from all this, the moon is losing its atmosphere every moment, which is truly a sad part of reality. We usually say that there is no atmosphere on the moon, and even if there is, it's very little. But how little? Let's find out. If we talk about Earth, at sea level, the atmosphere contains about 10 raised to the power 19 molecules per cubic centimeter. But on the moon, there are only about 1 million molecules in every cubic centimeter. And most of these are noble gases, which usually stay in one place most of the time because noble gases don't react much. When a meteor shower happens on the moon, as soon as the meteor particles hit the moon's surface, some dust particles from the surface get lifted and go into the atmosphere. Because of this, the atmospheric density here increases slightly. And then, when this dust settles back on the surface, the process of the footprints degrading becomes twice as fast. Human activities like landers, rovers, launching and landing, including natural activities like meteor showers, can erase these footprints, footpaths, and rover tracks in about 1 million years, a few 100,000 years, or even a few thousand years. But even more concerning than the impact is this. What is concerning here is the settling particles, which will cover these prints with a layer on top, and they will disappear very quickly. Now let's talk about internal events, that is, the activities happening on the moon like moonquakes. Ever since we started trying to understand the moon, we have left several seismometers there to record the movements happening on the moon. Recently, India's Chandrayaan-3 has also confirmed moonquakes. So with so much data, we have divided moonquakes into 4 parts. Deep moonquakes, which occur about 700 kilometers below the surface. These are mainly generated due to the tidal forces of our Earth. Surface vibrations, which are caused by the impact of an asteroid or meteor. Thermal quakes are formed due to the day-night cycle on the moon. Because of the high heat during the day, the surface of the moon expands. At night, the temperature drops to minus 180 degrees Celsius, so the lunar surface starts to contract, which causes thermal quakes. And at number 4 are shallow moonquakes, which occur 20 to 30 kilometers below the surface of the moon. The first 3 moonquakes here are very small on the seismic scale. They are mild and harmless. They can't rearrange or deform particles on the lunar surface, but the shallow moonquakes can reach up to 5.5 on the seismic scale. These have thousands of times more power compared to the other moonquakes. If we compare it with Earth, the most powerful earthquake here can last for a maximum of 2 minutes, but on the moon, shallow moonquakes can last for up to 10 minutes. If even a single moonquake occurs in the area beneath those prints, then the timescale of millions, hundreds of thousands, and thousands of years will become meaningless. Because here, everything will be over in just a few minutes. It will seem as if humans never set foot on the moon at all. The Apollo Seismic Network studied about 28 high-magnitude moonquakes on the moon during its 8-year lifespan. One thing is clear from a recent study of that data: the moon is very active within itself. And because of this, in the last 100 million years, the moon has shrunk by up to 50 meters. As its core and interior keep cooling down, it keeps shrinking that much. Its center was about 13 kilometers away, but still, nothing happened to the footprints, the astronauts' footpaths, or the lunar vehicle's tracks. One conclusion we can draw from this is that if the footprints were erased because of moonquakes, then the epicenter of that moonquake would have to be right below the landing site, which would be a very rare event. So we can say that the footprints of human civilization can remain on the moon for millions or even billions of years. Only in some rare cases, if an asteroid or any other impact happens directly on them, or if a very big moonquake occurs right beneath that spot. Only in that case can these prints be erased, and the chances of such rare events happening are just 1 in millions or billions. Human activities will obviously degrade the moon's surface faster, but if humans reach the moon, they will definitely try to preserve these heritage sites. Space exploration has always tested the limits of human civilization, as NASA is preparing to land astronauts on the moon under its Artemis program. But along with this, the dangers present on the moon will also become a reality for us with this mission. Imagine that an astronaut has gone on an expedition to a rugged area near the moon's south pole. But then a major incident occurs. That astronaut is present at the moon's south pole. He goes deep into a crater which is always covered in darkness, where no radio signal can ever reach, and the temperature there drops below minus 173 degrees Celsius. After this incident, all communication with that expedition and the astronaut is lost. In temperatures lower than minus 173 degrees Celsius and with limited oxygen, that astronaut is now fighting a battle between life and death. A very dangerous area located far away on the moon where nothing can be seen for miles, no GPS, no radio connection. Besides this, the most dangerous thing is that he can't call anyone nearby for help, nor can he even shout, because there will be no one there to hear him. Although astronauts are experts at dealing with such situations, they are specifically trained to handle these kinds of circumstances. But the conditions on the moon are not found anywhere else. Where blackouts are common, the area is completely filled with deep pits, craters, and large rocks, which makes any rescue operation for that astronaut extremely challenging. On Earth, rescue operations can be organized in hours, but on the moon, they take much longer. In the environment of space, in the vacuum of the moon, any equipment can malfunction, the navigation system can give us errors, and all these instrument failures can prove to be fatal for those living on the moon base and for the astronauts. So to deal with all these problems, the new lunar distress system is going to be useful here. A team of researchers from UNISA, that is the University of South Africa, has developed this. This system can prove to be a boon for astronauts going to the moon. It has been designed keeping in mind the moon's harsh and unique conditions. This system ensures that our astronauts on the moon, no matter what situation they are in or if they are working in any remote area, can send a distress signal to their base where someone will be present to help them. And this groundbreaking technology can save many lives in the future. This technology is going to be the future of space exploration because it is not limited to just the moon. In the future, this technology will be used everywhere. So in today's video, we will explore some unknown dangers of lunar exploration that really make NASA think twice. And how will the rescue system work on the moon beyond Earth, and how can it help us here on Earth? So fasten your seatbelts because this exciting journey is about to begin. Dangers of lunar exploration. Exploring the moon and colonizing it sounds very futuristic, like science fiction, and extremely exciting. But it's one of the most dangerous environments where humans would ever want to live. There is no atmosphere on the moon. This simply means that there's no air to breathe there, and there is no weather either. And there's also no protection there to save us from the deadly radiation coming from the sun and space. During the day on the moon, the surface temperature can reach up to 127 degrees Celsius, and at night, this temperature drops to below minus 173 degrees Celsius. And in such conditions, where there's such a huge shift in temperature, without any shelter or proper equipment, this shift can kill humans within minutes. The south pole of the moon, where NASA is preparing to send its future missions, is even more dangerous. That area is filled with craters submerged in permanent darkness, which are miles wide. Sunlight never reaches these dark areas. Because of this, some of these craters are so cold that they are among the coldest places in our solar system, and if astronauts go on an expedition to these areas, they will have to rely completely on their equipment. And if there is even a small problem here, the consequences can be fatal. Another major risk comes in communication. Radio signals can't fully cover the moon because of its rugged and uneven surface in the remote areas. If an astronaut goes into a deep crater or gets stuck in an area where radio signals can't reach, he won't be able to contact mission control or the nearby colonized areas. The moon's harsh environment and that loneliness would make it impossible for him to call for help. In such survival situations, time will be everything. Every second without communication would be constantly decreasing his chances of survival. And after that, some mechanical risks also come into play. Like the spacesuit, rover, and life support system, all these things are designed to operate in the harsh environment of the moon, but they are not completely foolproof. And if even one equipment failure happens, like a crack in the helmet visor, a malfunction in the oxygen tank, or you could say the rover dying, it would put the astronauts in a situation where there would be no way to escape. Yes. Conducting deep space research can be so dangerous for astronauts that they could die in the blink of an eye. Because the presence of many lethal elements like black holes, cosmic rays, gamma ray bursts, magnetars, and galaxy mergers makes space dangerous. For any astronaut going there, it's nothing less than a nightmare. But what if, despite all this, astronauts set out on deep space travel, and what if during that journey they encounter those lethal elements? To find out, stay with us till the end of the video, friends. When a group of astronauts sets out on deep space travel, they have to face many unknown and dangerous things. For example, cosmic radiation. Cosmic radiation is so dangerous and so energetic that forget about the human body. It can even damage spacecraft made of metal. As you all know, there is a constant magnetic force working on Earth, and humans feel the most secure within that magnetic force. But as soon as an astronaut moves away from Earth's magnetic field for space travel, the first thing they encounter is this. Outer space is not as highly secure as Earth's magnetic field from atom fragments, meaning fragments of atoms with high energy, and no, it is not empty. The fragments can be so dangerous that they can even damage the DNA and cells of a human body. Let me tell you that the dose of radiation exposure is measured using the unit millisievert. It has been found that on a one-way trip from Earth to Mars, an astronaut is exposed to 0.3 sievert of radiation. However, this amount is not that dangerous because 1 sievert of radiation increases the risk of cancer by up to 5.5 times, while 8 sieverts of radiation can even be fatal for a person. According to a research by radiation oncologist Charles Lemoli, when an astronaut is exposed to cosmic rays, they have to struggle with brain-related diseases in the long term. This dangerous radiation damages not only a human's brain cells but also other cells, and repairing this damage is almost impossible. Apart from the damage to brain cells, there are major risks like dementia, memory loss, depression, improper decision-making, anxiety, and unusual behavior. An astronaut has to constantly struggle with these issues. Researchers are working on developing drugs that can protect astronauts from the harmful effects of cosmic radiation. Besides this, scientists are also working on this task. A shield should be developed to eliminate these harmful radiations so that the adverse effects of this radiation can be significantly reduced. For example, the metal thickness of the spacecraft can be increased so that cosmic rays cannot penetrate inside. But doing this will also increase the weight of the spacecraft, and sending that spacecraft into space will require that much more fuel. Apart from this, work is also being done on the technology to make such spacesuits so that cosmic radiation cannot easily expose the astronaut's body. Astronauts have to live in isolation in a spacecraft the size of a small cabin for a long period of time. This feels like being imprisoned for a long period of time. Not only that, the group of astronauts has to live together in cramped quarters for several days. Here, astronauts don't get any kind of privacy at all. In fact, one astronaut has to live in harmony with another astronaut. Because of this, there are often disagreements within the group of astronauts. Due to the closeness with each other, they also have to face tension and mutual conflicts. When astronauts live so close to each other, the chances of incidents like violence and mutual rebellion increase significantly. To deal with these challenges, astronauts are often provided with psychological training so that during deep space travel, they do not feel stressed or anxious and can maintain a supportive and family-like environment. As we discussed earlier, there is no gravitational force in outer space, and because astronauts live in a microgravity environment, their immune system becomes much weaker, which greatly increases the risk of infections for astronauts. Many times, it is shown that in the absence of gravitational force, astronauts must feel very excited in the spacecraft, but in reality, this is not the case at all. In reality, it becomes quite risky for astronauts because the human body has become very much habitual to gravitational force. The skeleton and muscles of the human body are designed in such a way that they provide support and balance to the body against gravitational force and also help in moving the body. When astronauts are sent to space in zero gravitational force, the job of the bones to balance the human body completely ends there. Because of this, bone density starts to decrease. Mars muscles shrink during space travel, and the mass of Mars muscles also decreases. Because of this, there is pain in the spine and difficulty in walking and moving around. Actually, microgravity damages the bones and muscles of the human body. That's why when astronauts return from their space missions, they have a lot of trouble walking on the ground, and sometimes they even have to be carried. To reduce these adverse effects on the human body, astronauts on the International Space Station have to undergo intensive exercise. Yoga is also practiced there, and in addition, training is also provided for living in zero gravity. Despite this, it is near to impossible to completely eliminate all these potential risks. When astronaut Scott Kelly returned from space travel with his other companions, he was seeing things blurry. Presented at the annual meeting of the Radiology Society of North America, the research found that the amount of fluid in astronauts' spinal cords was increased, and the increased fluid, this amount puts pressure on the eyeballs and optic nerve, which leads to farsightedness, also known as farsightedness. Talking about other dangers of deep space travel, infections caused by microorganisms are a potential threat for astronauts. Even after maintaining a high level of cleanliness, these microorganisms can survive even in the extreme conditions of space, such as microgravity, high temperatures, and radiation. So these microorganisms also pose a major threat to astronauts. A recent research has revealed that an airborne fungus, Aspergillus fumigatus, can survive just as well on the International Space Station as it can on Earth. This fungus is responsible for causing fungal infections in humans. Another concern is that the presence of these microorganisms, Aspergillus fumigatus, also helps other pathogens survive. Ultimately, this Aspergillus fumigatus is a matter of concern which can prove to be the biggest threat to astronauts during deep space travel. To deal with this, it is very important to first follow proper cleaning and hygiene protocols so that it can be confirmed that astronauts do not come into contact with these deadly pathogens. So far, we have talked about physical dangers, but when traveling in space, astronauts do not face only these dangers. Talking about other dangers in deep space travel, human error is a major concern because a small mistake can end an astronaut's life. Since space travel is quite long, the chances of human errors increase significantly due to tension and unusual behavior in astronauts. A small mistake by an astronaut can have serious consequences, such as the spacecraft crashing in space or a leak in the spacesuit. To avoid this, we need to learn from past mistakes and continuously strengthen safety protocols so that in the future we can achieve as much success as possible in space missions. So friends, today we learned how deep space travel is full of dangers, but it is also a remarkable endeavor. We learned about many dangers that occur during deep space travel, such as microgravity, cosmic radiation, microorganisms, and human errors. But thanks to technological advancement and research, we can make better plans and reduce potential dangers, because there are countless mysteries in this universe. And to uncover the mysteries of this universe, it's also important to protect the astronauts who travel in deep space. And at the same time, it's just as important to explore the mysteries of space. Also, do share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Friends, if you like the video, make sure to like it and share it with your friends. For more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Friends, we'll meet again soon with another new informative video. Until then, stay curious, be happy, and goodbye.